Hi, this is Jen from Canada. I'm going to be talking about my spiritual emergency today, and I've made notes, so I'm going to have to look down a few times. Um, my spiritual emergency began in India in 1998. I'd gone to India with the specific intent of opening myself up like this, but I was not at all prepared for what I got. Walking down a dusty street in Rajasthan, I felt my consciousness crack open. It was discernible. My first thought was, oh, I've been conscious my whole life and I've never really been aware that I was conscious. Whoa, something's wrong with it. What do I do? Where do I go for that? Immediately, my awareness and my attention were affected. They were so sharp and altered, and I just walked around perplexed by what was happening to me until a fear set in, and I needed to return to Canada. The effect of this consciousness cracking open was instantaneous, immediate, and continues to this day without my will. The first things that I noticed when I returned to Canada was that consciousness expanded beyond its confines, across the ocean, out into space, and in every direction. I was aware of being everywhere in the universe at the same time. Suddenly I understood there was an omnipresent consciousness underlying the whole universe. When my egocentric notion of myself had dissolved into that, and I was that. That's a quote from P. Hawkins in Dr. Buck Revisited. And that's what I went through. I felt like a leaf in a hurricane. I just had no orientation in space and time, and my reality had shifted. I was vulnerable, I was helpless, and I thought, am I dying? Am I going crazy? I felt like I couldn't tell anyone because they would just immediately come to the conclusion that I was psychotic. And I knew I wasn't psychotic because I had read Stanislav Grof's book, The Stormy Search for the Self, and I recognized what I was going through was, if anything, some kind of mystical experience. It also resonated with a lot of Hindu literature texts that I had been reading. So I didn't see anyone immediately. I felt like this was something that was important to go through, as it was it was vital to what I was as a human being. However, the crisis period lasted for 4 months, and at that point, my family asked that I go see a psychiatrist. So I did go see a psychiatrist, and sitting in the room with him, I thought, you can't tell from where you are where I am. There's just no way for you to know that without being in the same state. So I just sat there politely and smiled a lot, and left. And that was the end of that for that period of time. I continued to go through what I was going through. It was very hard to function in that state. I felt it was very dangerous. It was very difficult, and it was very isolating. Universal themes were involved, like the battle of good and evil. And there's also very personal experiences. Feeling like I was at the center of events that had great significance, and my psyche had completely erupted. The unconscious welled forth. Archetypes and symbols became very important to me and are still important to me today. These types of experiences after the crisis lasted for about 10 years. At that point, during that time, I worked as a worker with high needs children. And after 10 years, I felt like the experiences were ebbing away. And for me, I thought, no, that can't be right, because these are important to us as humans. So I drove myself back into the experiences. And at that point, I needed to go into the hospital. It was the wrong thing to do. And I recognized after a month stay in the hospital, in the psych ward, that what I needed to do was return to normal. Return to a normal state of consciousness, what my normal was going to be, which is where I'm at now. And so this is now 18 years later. I still experience a lot of light, a lot of love, a lot of energy, and a bizarre empowerment that I can't quite figure out where it's come from. But it's not egocentric, and it's I don't think it's spiritual. It's something that has come out of this journey that I've been on that I prize very highly. And I prize the extreme states very highly. I value them. I think there is so much to be gained from these extreme states, that they put us face to face with parts of being a human that we don't experience otherwise. And if properly supported, we can gain a lot from them. So thank you, Katie, so much for this campaign. This is very important, to normalize experiences, to celebrate the value of them, and to give a voice to all the people like myself who experience things, and go through challenges of trying to explain them to other people, finding community where we can share and navigate our journeys, and to bring forth the benefits of these experiences, because they're only going to benefit the world. And it's important that each one of us that undergoes these experiences takes steps to make sure that it becomes easier and easier for people to bring about changes and the boon of our experiences. Thank you. Bye.